Because how is it anything other than extremism when you're willing to tank your entire studio and destroy your employees' livelihoods just for the chance to make a point? And by the way, a point that's being made everywhere. It's being made everywhere. So I'm annoyed. Yep, I am really, really annoyed because it seems like AAA gaming has turned into a game of Russian roulette and no one asked for this. Like nobody. Because okay, some of these big studios of these large franchises seem completely hell-bent on just sucking the fun out of gaming, sucking the immersion out of gaming, just sucking every last bit of enjoyment out of gaming, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Okay, so what seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back for me was this particular news cycle around Dragon Age the Veilguard. I grew up being a huge fan of Dragon Age Origins. I've always been a pretty big open world RPG enjoyer, from Oblivion to Skyrim, The Witcher 3. I even enjoyed Inquisition a bit. And I think these were all like super immersive games, like plenty of content to love, interesting characters, blah, blah, blah. But now, instead of getting lost in a world of fantasy, we have to stomach the subjective morality of a bunch of ex-band kids finger wagging and rocket blasting my immersion into a political hellscape. Why? Why here? Why do you care more about making your little point, your tiny minuscule point, than the experience of more than half of the gamers? But also at the expense of hundreds, if not thousands of jobs, millions of dollars burning in the trash can of social justice. I'm not extremely passionate about these issues themselves, but they certainly are, to the point of being extremists. Because how is it anything other than extremism when you're willing to tank your entire studio and destroy your employees' livelihoods just for the chance to make a point? And by the way, a point that's being made everywhere. It's being made everywhere. All over social media, the news, movies, people are fighting about it daily. It's not like this is something new. You're not a revolutionary. You know more than half of gamers just despise being patronized by you guys, but you don't care. You are absolutely rock hard to inject these polarizing topics into games and then act surprised when people get angry. Like, can gamers have one place where we can escape from this garbage? Just one place. Do you have to, I know you want to speak up for what's right, but do you have to seriously do that everywhere? Everywhere? Do I need to fight for social justice and LGBTQ rights in the Taco Bell line, the grocery store, my grandmother's funeral, the county fair? Like, I seriously, I do not get it. Okay, like, look at this article from Vice I was reading. I was reading this and I can't believe the point is evading them this hard. Okay, let's read this review from a user on Metacritic and this journalist's reactions to it. Censoring on Metacritic has gotten completely out of hand. Not a smart move if you want to stay relevant, aka in business, because the whole NWO Great Reset woke psyop has failed, narratives crumbling, and everyone not bailing out in time will go down with it. And then the Vice journalist responds with, "This, in case you couldn't tell, is a user from Metacritic. Dragon Age the Veilguard is a lesson to us all." I want you to really read that review. Let it nestle within your brain for a second. Now, what did you meaningfully glean from that? What information in that excerpt will help you decide whether Veilguard is worth your time? That the game has characters of different ethnicities, and that's bad? This brand of criticism extends to YouTube, where content creators aren't bound to any kind of journalistic integrity. Sure, a few YouTubers provide thoughtful feedback on the strengths and weaknesses of a game, but some of them couldn't care less about worthwhile, relevant, informed discourse. They don't have to talk about the gameplay visuals, characters, story, pacing, mechanics, or any of the other nuances one looks for in a traditional review for a game. Instead, they can just turn their camera on and say, this game sucks because it has pronouns in it, or features too much diversity, or ruined a franchise, by introducing any sexual orientation other than straight or gender identity that isn't a man or a woman. This isn't a conversation, a point to it all, just noise. Get me out of here. Yes, please, someone get him out of here. Like, literally escort him somewhere that has nothing to do with gaming, like a political protest or a Reddit thread somewhere. Get him out. Get him out of here. Anyways, back to this. It's funny, though, Dragon Age the Veilguard is getting lambasted for its inclusive elements because it apparently isn't a 10 out of 10 experience. Meanwhile, I don't recall Baldur's Gate 3 getting a whole lot of flack for, oh wait, never mind. I guess I had a momentary mental lapse, but traditionally, people will excuse all that gross diversity if the quality is high enough. But true to form, that bar is only cleared once perfection is agreed upon. No real-world parallels at all. Bro, has your mind been addled? Do you think the writing in Veilguard is anywhere near Baldur's Gate 3? Anywhere near it? Like, Baldur's Gate knows how to make a character gay without them lecturing me. They don't lecture the audience. I never felt like I was in an extracurricular meeting with the theater kids at my high school when I was playing Baldur's Gate 3. And, I felt like I was in a fantasy world. The difference here is monumental. Don't minimize immersion. Don't lecture me through my game. A game is supposed to be fun, and forced moral lectures are literally the least fun thing I could ever imagine. So, it's this weird kamikaze attack on gamers, and honestly, it feels petty. But the consequences obviously aren't petty. And, obviously giant YouTubers with huge audiences rally together and they say how much they hate this. They are dinging the warning bell. And rather than consider it as an ill omen, you guys take it as a challenge. Please, for the love of God, make gaming about escapism again. For the love of your employees' livelihoods, for the love of my own sanity, if you care at all, make gaming about escapism again. Please. Please. Okay, I'm going to show some of this crap on my screen because, you have to suffer with me. Okay, so here's an article. It is by, I don't know what this Aftermath. I don't really know much about Aftermath, but I was kind of scrolling around some Dragon Age stuff. It says, Dragon Age review controversy shows how much YouTube and Twitter have poisoned game discourse. So this is going to be rich. This is going to be real rich. Okay, let's see. These days, when a big new game comes out, you can pretty much roll the dice on what kind of reactionary controversy it will produce. Are we looking at a moral panic over trans characters? Diversity consulting? Games journalists being too positive? Is that really where we're gonna take it? We're gonna take it in the direction of people hating trans characters. No, people don't like it when it feels forced and injected into the game. It's not Baldur's Gate had those characters in it. But Baldur's Gate never broke you out of immersion. There's this weird thing where, the dialogue in these games literally sounds like I was overhearing a conversation at a lunch table in school, like a bunch of dorks. And the thing is, I'm sorry, but a bunch of dorks cosplay. It's like a LARPing event. Like, I'm cool. Like, I've been to a LARPing event. Like, I understand that. But when I picture, like, an actual badass dude going to take down a dragon or, in this fantasy world, I don't picture these types of little timid dorks, honestly. And that's what it sounds like. It breaks you out of immersion because, anyways, I'm gonna chill out. Game journalists being too positive, game journalists being too negative, some other quibble that will be forgotten in a week, interchangeably swapped out like grains of sand dragged away by an unrelenting tide. Anyway, the usual suspects got mad about Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Okay, the usual suspects. So yeah, more than half of gamers, the majority of people on Earth got really mad. So anyways, you can listen to this week's episode of Aftermath Hours for a full rundown of why the whole thing is illustrative of a larger, more important issue. Thanks to algorithmic prioritization on sites like YouTube, Twitter, and how a growing number of people engage with video games, plenty of normal people still manage to tune it out. The hour-long rants and conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories? Really? Does it take a wild conspiracy theorist to look at the game and not feel annoyed? Like, I didn't even see the gaming discourse for so long. I just started playing these games and getting irritated. Like, I remember in Horizon Zero Dawn where there's like this like fat girl and she's like beating the crap out of her like lieutenant general, this big jacked guy, and like humiliating him. And it's just like, I mean, that's fine, but like also the general was talking like someone who wouldn't be a badass. Like, they were being sassy and quirky, like being sassy and quirky while smashing a big. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Anyways, okay. Let's see. Here's an excerpt from our conversation. Let's see. Nathan's having a talk with Riley. Let's see how this one goes. Nathan, I guess my doomer-pilled concern about all of this is that the American Fascist Project continues fascism. So we're sorry. is that the American Fascist Project continues to grow in power, and all of these platforms facilitate these ways of talking about things, conspiratorial thinking and whatnot. Do we reach a point where this becomes the default? You mean the majority opinion? You mean it already is? Because I would say that right now, this is not the way that most normal people talk about games or engage with them. Yeah, it wasn't until you guys started doing this, and now people talk about it all the time. I hear it all the time now because you guys want to abrasively shove your polarizing opinions into the games. And that, anyways, a lot of people, as we see, even based on Dragon Age Steam numbers right now, saw the game, thought it looked cool, bought it, and now they're playing it. I mean, not that many. It's not that impressive of Steam numbers. If you look at Asmongold's most viewed video on all this, it has around 1 million views. 1 million sounds like a lot, but this game will probably be bought by north of 10 million people, so that's a fraction. And even then, a lot of people who watched that video were probably never going to buy the game anyways. How would you ever even know that? That is the biggest puff of copium I've ever seen in my life. How do you know that they wouldn't buy it? You know how many people loved Dragon Age Origins? I really wanted a game like Dragon Age, this dark, grim fantasy, that's what I enjoy. I didn't want this like cookie cutter little foo-foo game that they gave us. And I'm not saying that the game is the worst game ever, but I'm just saying anyways. So it's not negligible exactly, but it's still a need. But as far, I can't even do this anymore. I can't even keep reading it. You get the point. You get the point of it. The problem is it's the lack of self-awareness. These people have no self-awareness. They don't realize what we need to do as gamers. Maybe it's not really good to just insult these guys and, threaten them. And so that's not a good way to handle it. But we need to start to try to find some common ground. And they need to have a bit of self-awareness so we can realize, okay, maybe, playing a game should be like entering into a different world where there's a baseline level of morality, murdering is bad, stuff like that, just a general good versus, a knowable morality, but not one that is like 2024, popular social media debate topics. We don't want that in a fantasy world. Just stop. It's just polarizing everybody. It's causing a war amongst gamers. I don't want that. I don't want people to just incessantly fight to where we have video games divided right down the middle. People are losing their jobs. I actually don't want that to happen. So we need to come to some sort of agreement, or these CEOs need to just get over themselves, see the landscape, see what people actually want, stop trying to force it. We're only going to have harmony within this if we can just get over ourselves a little bit and stop being so they're just when they call them fascists, where's the self-awareness? It's not fascism. It's people want gaming to be a certain thing, and it's not. You're shoving something in there that they don't want. So anyways, my name is Pulse. Thank you for hanging around with me and kind of seeing my opinions. I have, this is a new channel. I'm going to be posting opinions on a lot of different things in our culture rot, brain rot, the war that seems to be happening in almost every area of our culture because extremism is the popular thing and algorithms are ruining our lives. So, yeah, anyways, I appreciate you for watching. If you did enjoy this in any capacity, if you could just hit the like and subscribe button, and yeah, appreciate you. Thanks.